talk about pausing with the timer. We know how to move a dot with the timer. It's in the notes here. I'm going to copy that code. I'm going to place it in here, and I'm going to run it. And look, the dot moves with the timer. We know that. Now what I want to do is I want to be able to pause the dot when we press P, and I want to unpause it when we press P. Pause, unpause. Okay, so what pausing means is to have timer fired no longer do anything while we're paused. Timer fire will still be called, only it just won't respond. So here what I want to say is if we are paused, then do nothing. So it's if we are not paused, only then do we want to actually do what's in timer fired. Okay, fine. So now how do we track whether or not we're paused? What we'll do is we'll have in our model we'll have app.paused, which we will create right now. It'll be a Boolean that says true if we're paused and false if we're not. Inside timer fired, we'll only do timer fired if in fact it's false. When we start, we'll say we are not paused. Okay, and if you see, this has changed nothing so far, except now we're able to actually change app.paused. And for that, we need a key pressed app event. And if the event's key is P, then we will say we are paused. And now when we run this, P, and we're paused. The problem is we're permanently paused now. I have no way to set app.paused back to false. So what I want to say in here is if we are paused, if it's true, set it to false. Otherwise, set it to true. So this is what we call toggling. If it's true, make it false. If it's false, make it true. It turns out you can do that in one line, simply setting it to the opposite of what it was. Set it to the not of itself. And this line is the same as these 4 lines. So we'll delete those 4 lines. And now we'll say if you hit a P, we will toggle app.paused. And when I run this, P, 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 P. Beautiful. So now we're almost done. I want to add one more thing. When we're paused, it's super handy to be able to simulate one timer fired, one step. So what we want to say is here, elif event.key is equal to s for a step. Then take one step. You have to provide the app to that. But what I want this to do in do step, I want it to simulate one call to timer fired. What I want it to do is really this part right here, whatever that is, the body of timer fired. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to create a new function called doStep. And the body of timer fired is inside that function. And if we're not paused, I'll call doStep. So what timer fired does is says, if I'm not paused, go ahead and do that thing. Okay? But the beauty of putting this in its own function is now down here we can call it. By the way, let's also say, well, let's run this for a minute, okay? And I pause, step, 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 pause, pause, step, 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 step. That's great. One thing that's weird is when I'm not paused, I can still step and see how it goes faster. I'm holding the S key in. So we only want to step if we're paused. So we'll say and app.paused. So if you press S while we're paused, then we'll do a step. So now when I go ahead and run this, pause, unpause. So P, 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 S, 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 P. I'm holding the S and nothing's happening. That's exactly what we wanted. Now I'm holding the S and I'm taking steps even while paused. This is very important because this lets you stop time. Debugging animations is very hard because a bug comes and goes and you don't have time to sit and look at what's going on. And adding pausing and stepping buys you the time you need to slow things down and look carefully and step one step at a time.